Hello everyone, it's Tom here. This is the HP Victus 15, again. But this is the better HP Victus. How exactly is it better? Well, we'll get to that in a moment, but first, you're probably in the toilet watching this or on your couch, sipping beer and whatever. Why not leave a like and maybe subscribe to the channel? It helps us out. Alright, so, the cooler HP Victus 15. This gets the i5-12450H, a 12th gen Intel processor with 8 total cores and 12 total threads. It boosts up to a maximum frequency of 4.4 GHz, and if I'm being honest with you, the Ryzen 5 processor on the previous laptops generally better, practically speaking. But what is a good processor if you've only got an RTX 2050? This laptop, though having a slightly weaker processor, more than makes up for it with a beefier RTX 3050. Now, yes, I've seen and heard people discuss that the differences between a 2050 and a 3050 aren't a lot if they have the same power draw. But, to be honest, that is true on other laptops, but the 3050 on this laptop has a higher power draw of about 70 watts. While the previous Victus 15 with an RTX 2050 is only capped at 50 watts. So, with that out of the way, let's talk performance. With GTA 5 at 1080p very high settings, with FXA on and MSAA set to 2 times, we get around 80 to 90 frames per second on average. Now, I think this seems to be a fair average, considering MSAA is a more demanding anti-aliasing method. Disable this and you should be able to push more frames. On Cyberpunk, we get a bit more FPS on the 3050 than we do on the 2050. On medium settings at 1080p, we get a much more comfortable and more playable 40 to 45 FPS on average, but as always, enabling DLSS will help with pushing more FPS. And lastly, RDR2. On high settings at 1080p, we get around 50 FPS on average. Very playable for a single-player game. And that's about it for performance. If I'm being honest with you, this laptop is almost the same as the other Victus laptop, especially when it comes to the display and upgradability. So when it comes to the display, it's a modest 1080p display with a refresh rate of 144Hz. It's great for competitive gaming, and I'm more than sure you'll be able to land a similar FPS figure with Valorant with ease. For general content consumption, the display is fine, but if you're interested in doing color grading or color critical work, I recommend using an external monitor, basically. Upgradability is the same, but since this laptop already has 32GB of RAM and a terabyte of storage, I don't think any upgrades are necessary for a while, but you'll eventually find yourself out of storage sooner than later. So, I'll link you to an SSD with a larger capacity. When it comes to the ports, we have the same setup. To the left of the laptop, we have a Type-A USB port, a 3.5mm jack, and a full-sized SD card slot. And to the right of the laptop, we have an HDMI 2.1 port, another Type-A USB port, an Ethernet port, and a Type-C port. Exactly the same as the other Victus laptop. And that's about it, to be honest. I'd choose this laptop with the 3050 over the one with the 2050. Just because it'll push out a bit more FPS, because I'm a sucker for more FPS. Other than that, you get the same portability with the laptop. It's thin, it's slim, it's light. Perfect for students or for nomadic professionals. If you want to check the laptop out, you can scan these QR codes. I'm Tom, thanks for watching, and have a great day.